Hello everyone, today we will be looking at how to improve as a beginning chess player. I will be going over the best openings for beginners, the best tools to learn chess, the best tempo to play online games, how to analyze your games in light chess, what program I use to solve puzzles, and much more. I would recommend to devote 20% of your time to the opening and 80% of your time to what I call the rest, since I don't really want to make a distinction between the middle game and the end game yet. Learning, playing, analyzing, and solving. I will leave timestamps down below so you can skip to whatever part you are most interested in. What opening do you really want to play as a beginner? You should have an opening as white and 1 or 2 as black. You want to have an opening against e4 and d4. I would highly recommend setup based openings. You play the same thing over and over again and you can focus on the middle game, which I think is very important. There are some people who say that you should learn the main lines right from the start, but I don't really believe in that. I think as a beginner it's much more important. Work on your technique, your skills, rather than just knowing the opening moves. So for that reason, I would recommend to play something like the London system as white, or the King's Indian attack, and as black I would highly recommend the King's Indian defense. I play the opening myself and it's pretty easy because you can play the same thing against knight f3, against d4, against c4, and even if you want against e4. But then you're more in a perk than in a King's Indian defense. So you might want to have a second opening as black against e4. So again, I don't think it's very worthy to start out by playing the main lines, since you will not be able to focus fully on the middle game, which I think is very important. Also, I would recommend to study the names and the beginning moves of the main openings. And this way you actually understand what other people are talking about. Hi man. Yo man. My game was so funny. I played this IM guy. He was in first place for like 5 rounds. Whoa. I played mainline Najdorf. And believe it or not, but he didn't know any theory. Knight d7, f4, queen c7, queen f3. You will not believe me, but he was already out of book. Yeah, funny. I managed to win the game thanks to my prep. How did your game go? My opponent played the king pawn. What? The king pawn. Oh, the king's pawn opening. Yeah. What did you get? An Italian? A Rui? Well, he played his horse. It's a knight. Yeah, knight out to attack my pawn. Okay, so knight f3, knight c6. Well, I played the horse. Knight out to the left. Okay, so knight to c6. Did you defend your pawn? Oh yeah, that's right. So it was probably the one on the right. Okay, and then what did you do? I think he put his bishop out somewhere, and then I did the same. And then at some point, he moved his king like 2 squares to the left, and his rook like 2 to the right. He probably castled. Exactly. I would recommend to check out the opening videos of Gotham Chess here on YouTube. These are videos in which he explains the basics of various openings. If you want more of a theoretical basis, I would recommend to check out Hanging Pawns. He has a great opening library on his channel. Let's now have a look at the part the rest. And we start with learning. There's a lot of ways to learn chess, and it's also a very personal thing. Some people just like to have a solid chess book in their hands. Others learn very well with video, but I think there is one thing you really need if you want to improve fast, and that's a coach. A coach, in my opinion, should have at least 200 elo points more than you have, preferably more. Anyone lower than that will not really be able to see through all of your mistakes. A coach is someone who keeps you on the right track. Someone who knows your strengths, who knows your weaknesses, and someone who can teach on a personalized level. A coach costs a lot of money, and so you need a solution for that. Solutions can be going to the local chess club, or another solution could be to look out for a chess buddy somewhere on the internet. Someone of your level, someone who you can compare yourself to, because it's very important not to be alone on your improvement journey. You know, books, a paid program like subscriptions on chess.com, chess24, they can help you a lot, but at a certain level you will stagnate. And at these moments you need someone who is able to look straight through your game, someone who can see your weaknesses, your mistakes, but also your strengths, someone who can say you exactly what to do and put you on the right track. I believe that no engine, no app like Dr. Wolf can see what a coach actually can. Now let's talk about playing. I recommend to play a few games every day on either Lichess or chess.com. Me, I play on Lichess mostly because I like the design better, I think, which in itself shouldn't be a reason to choose one or another. What I would like to emphasize though is the tempo. Usually players are told that rapid and classical are the best tempi to improve your game. With rapid, I mean 10 plus 0, 10 plus 5 and 20 plus 10 on lichess.org. And with classical, I mean 30 plus 0 and 30 plus 20. Me, I like to play tempo like 30 plus 20, but I wouldn't really recommend that, since one, it can endure a pretty long time until you have a match. But on chess.com this will be quicker since you have more members on chess.com. And secondly, you can probably play like 2 rapid games in the time you play only 1 classical. And if you look at the quality-quantity ratio, I think in this case it tilts toward the quantity. So the rapid games. I'm more a fan of bullet, blitz and rapid. I see a healthy ratio of bullet, blitz and rapid as 20% bullet, 30% blitz and 50% rapid. Okay, so bullet in my opinion is more for fun, but you can also see this like as maintaining your chess as well as practicing mouse speed. I think blitz is already much more interesting since you're forced to think, and the analysis after the game will be much more interesting. Finally, rapid is arguably the fastest way to improve, which doesn't mean that you should only play rapid games, but the analysis after the game becomes very interesting because you've thought deeply over several positions and you can check these positions later. With rapid, you train your deep calculation. You should see every position in your game as some difficult tactical or positional puzzle that you need to solve. So if you're very serious about improving, I would recommend something like 10% bullet, 20% blitz, and 70% rapid. Now let's talk about analyzing. So after playing a game in Lichess, I create a study, I set it on closed, and I add my coach to the study. I do the same with my own students. I go to learn, study, and I click on the plus sign. I type the name of the study, I set the visibility on invite only, and everything else on contributors. Then I click on start, and I create the first chapter. I click on member, add members, I search the name of my coach, and I add him as a contributor. This way he can make changes to the study as well. Afterwards, I go through the whole game myself. I write notes after every move where I have any problems, as well as concrete calculations. I write a question mark for a blunder, an exclamation mark for a very good move. I write down the feeling I had during the game and during various parts of the game. Also in Lichess you can find the tempo you play with. So you can see like, oh, I wasted too much time there and there. I typically end with 3 things I did well and 3 things I didn't do well. These things can be very abstract, like time use, mentality, beating yourself up early, being too greedy, but they can also be very concrete, like your opening preparation, using the bishop pair very well, winning a theoretical endgame, and things like that. After this, I go through the whole game with my coach, and he can basically select what I need to work on. If you don't have a coach, an engine will be able to pick out most of your mistakes. So why shouldn't you analyze directly with the engine? Because first of all, you You have to decide for yourself what was wrong before the engine can contradict you. You first need to make a mistake before it can be corrected. Otherwise, you can always use these excuses. I would have seen that. I was distracted. Obviously, that was wrong. Okay, now let's go on to solving. So I'm a big fan of a lesson plus drill. So basically you learn something and you practice it. This is, in my opinion, the best way to process learning material. Practically by drill, I mean positional and tactical puzzles. Positional puzzles can be found in books, but also in your own games, and I think they can be best taught by a coach. Positional play is something that's not objective. It's more a form of feeling, technique, pattern recognition, and it's not easy to understand a positional concept without having someone to explain it to you. Tactical puzzles are much easier to drill because the solution is objective and you can pose your question almost always to the engine. I would recommend to solve the free puzzles on Lichess for beginners, but there are other tactical trainers out there and apps that can do the same as Lichess. But if you're very serious about chess, I would recommend a subscription to chess.com. The puzzles on chess.com are better because they are composed. Those on Lichess are computer-generated puzzles. It's what a computer extracts from a big database that consists of millions and millions of games. And sometimes there are slight mistakes in these puzzles. A human has a hard time making the difference between a -5 and a -10 position. I myself use chess.com for tactical puzzles, and I have a platinum subscription, which means I pay 40 euros per year. That's $49 for all you Americans out there. And this basically gives me access to unlimited puzzles and Puzzle Rush. Puzzles are very good for improving your calculation, while Puzzle Rush is focusing more on pattern recognition and the speed of solving. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.